Have you ever heard the saying, your net worth is not your self-worth? Well, I'll give you one better. Your self-worth is directly correlated to your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. So analyzing the source, whether it's intrinsic, right, driven by things that we value, our purpose, things that are important to us, or extrinsic, things that other people value or impose onto us, or things that might be materialistic, changes the way that we act and interact with the world. And so it's incredibly important to understand, is the source of my self-esteem something that I have control over, something that I highly value, or is it driven by other people's maybe validation or external praise, maybe even a sense of perfectionism? The difference is when our source of self-esteem is something that's intrinsic, when we're faced with adversity, we're less likely to be shaken. When it's extrinsic, in those moments of adversity, we're more likely to break. This week's question, what is the source of my self-esteem, definitely had me going back to moments in my childhood. Where did my self-esteem start from, and where is it coming from today? My earliest memories of at least my positive self-esteem came from my father's affirmation and approval. I remember that when I would come home and get good grades, he seemed to be really pleased. My father was a high school dropout in Egypt, and so being able to stand out and step up in that way really made me feel confident and made me feel loved. The problem with that was I didn't always get good grades, and so when I didn't get good grades, I almost felt like I wasn't going to get that affirmation. As I grew older, I realized maybe it wasn't just the good grades, it was my work ethic. And then I started to work incredibly hard. I realized I might not have been the smartest person, and maybe I can't be the smartest person, but I do have the stamina, the persistence, the drive, the discipline, and the focus to outwork anyone. The problem with that sort of thinking is what happens when you burn out or when you can't work hard anymore because someone else can actually work harder than you. Maybe they have more privileges. Maybe they have been afforded more luxuries. Maybe you have to sit on the subway for 2 or 3 hours to get home, or on a bus for 5 or 6 hours instead of flying because you can't afford the same luxuries as someone else. So I started to grapple with my self-esteem coming from my work ethic, and the challenge with that was the only way to then improve my self-esteem was to work more. Well, eventually get to a place where you can't work anymore, right? The number of hours are finite. You need to sleep, otherwise you're going to break down. Then I started to realize that the source of my self-esteem was coming from my success. And every single time I succeeded, I felt like my success was breeding more success. The challenge with it coming from success is in the pursuit of success, there's always failure. And so in those moments when you're failing or you're feeling like you're defeated, your self-esteem actually takes a really big blow, right? Your sense of self-worth starts to scale back. It wasn't until I realized, where am I today? Where is the source of my self-esteem coming from today? And I am fortunate, that I have been able to cultivate this internal sense of not just morality, but a strong sense of my values, my identity, and my purpose in this world at a young age. And I have been convicted in understanding that God sort of put me on the earth to do the work that I'm doing today. And when I struggle with my sense of self-esteem or where I'm getting my self-worth from, I go back to my source, my values, my core values of making a difference, right? My health, my family, my friends, paying it forward. And I really anchor on those values and the sense of purpose that I'm here and put on this earth to try and level the educational playing field. And so when I think about the source of my self-esteem in those moments when I doubt my self-worth, I go back to understanding the reasons why I was put here. And so in some ways, it's a manifestation of my purpose. So I implore you all, continue to explore this question. You really want to know, is this coming from a healthy place or an unhealthy place? And how do I challenge my thinking around this source? How do I move and transition to a place where maybe my self-esteem is coming from a place that is healthier? And despite what I said about knowing where the source of my self-esteem is coming from and it being positive and unshakable, there's moments where I still have doubt. There's moments where I still may forget where the source is. And so reflecting on the question this week was a healthy reminder for me that it is coming from a place of positivity. It's coming from a place that is unshakable. It is coming from a place that is strong, and one that I'm able to not just share with my family, but with my friends and my community. So just want to say thank you. We're at nearly 4,000 subscribers to the Learning Loop. You all are continuing to be committed to your own education, accelerating your learning, and from what I've been reading, actually also has benefits to anti-aging when we continue to engage in our learning process. So thank you. Go out there and get after it.